I'm Gabe.
And I'm Johnny. Today we'll talk about Abzu, a indie game that is very similar to that other, more famous one.
Have you ever played Journey? If you have, then imagine pretty much the same game, but with an opposite setting. Instead of scorching deserts and freezing mountains, this time around you find yourself at the bottom of the ocean.
There's little to no story for most of the game. You play as a humanoid diver figure who has to wander around the ocean to figure out where to go. The only clues about any narrative are the very few wall paintings across some underwater ruins that seem to show other members of the same species of our diver living in harmony with the sea creatures.
And at specific points, you go inside some mystical looking wells you must energize to bring back life to your surrounding area. This story only gets a bit more attention towards the ending, which won't take long to get to, and ends up being fairly predictable. But while it tries to pass a nice message that can be interpreted in many ways by players, it feels more like it's there just for the sake of existing, and the game isn't really about the story, it's about the experience.
The movement is so fluid and the underwater setting gives you such an incredible freedom that feels so accurate and actually so obvious for swimming controls that it's really odd that I never seen controls like this in any other game. It's not unlike piloting planes in modern games, but you don't have to keep up the speed not to fall. You can also hitch a ride on some of the larger animals to go a little faster than usual.
While the game is linear, with you advancing areas and unable to return to previous ones, it never pushes you forward. In fact, one of the collectibles of the game are meditation points, statues where you sit on and just observe the local wildlife for as long as you like. There are also some secret pools around the ocean you can interact with to release new species into the current area. And hidden shells that grant you a fancy new diver suit with infinite boost when you find them all.
While exploring, you find some pieces of tech, likely left behind by the species, still functioning around. In some locations, you have to find and activate some friendly looking, water drones to open the path to the next area. Other times you have to interact with something to open a door or whatever. But I wouldn't go so far as to call them puzzles. These are more like an excuse to make you swim around a bit before going to the next area.
In the end, the game mechanics are simple and to the point. There's never a real challenge, threat, or minimally difficult part to progress. And in this case, that's okay. But I can see why it would bother some players.
Obviously, compared to Journey, many of the team, including the director and the composer, worked in that game as well, and repeated the dose perfectly in this title. However, when in Journey the occasional online player made your solitary adventure feel more alive, in Abzu, even if brimming with life, it is lonelier. You are always by yourself, and feels more like an observer than the protagonist of this world.
The ocean is the focus of the game. The environments are beautiful, and for me, the highlights are the details and variety of a whopping 125 different animals. That's a full plate for biology lovers, if you just wave aside the many freshwater species also living in the ocean. And something that can get easily overlooked is how well programmed are the animal behaviors in this game. Swiftly dodging the diver and coordinated school movements that really sell the immersion.
The game keeps a nice balance with the vibrant colors and some polygons that are intentionally evident in the models, keeping a minimalist design but still looking somewhat realistic.
The audio is what really sets the atmosphere and emotions the game wants to convey. The soundtrack and sound design are what ties it all together, and without it, the game wouldn't be half as enjoyable as it is.
Albeit short, it's slow-paced and will definitely feel like a sluggish drag if it isn't your type of game. But if you enjoy a calm ride through a soothing environment, with no pressure on time limits, enemy attacks, or anything but taking your time exploring beautiful sceneries, this is the game for you. It is very similar to Journey, but that is only a bad thing if you want it to be. You can take it as another chance to feel the wonder of discovery and relaxation that its predecessor had in a fresh and much more lively environment. The journey here is far more important than the goal. It only takes a couple of hours to finish, and if it was much longer, it could risk getting boring.
And with the Play at Home initiative, if you have a PS4 or a PS5, you can get Abzu for free right now. And it has been free already a couple of times in the Epic Store. So go ahead and give it a try.
And before anyone says anything, no, we're not being sponsored to say this. Although we wish we were.
Anyway, that'll be all for today. If you enjoyed, please remember to give this video a like and consider subscribing to our channel.
If you want more, you can click here to check our last review about the Brazilian indie game Dandara. Or if The Legend of Zelda theories are more your thing, you can click here to check our last Theory of Zelda video, in which we talked about the origins of the hero Shade.
See you next time.
Bye!